This is Meteo Mundo.
Hi everyone, I'm Meteo Mundo Chief Meteorologist Rusty McCraney, and this is your latest tropics update as we continue to follow both Franklin and Idalia. I want to first start off and just look at this enhanced satellite imagery with you to show you how amazing these storms have developed in the last 24 hours, especially Franklin. I mean, look at the eye so defined in this enhanced satellite imagery, the classic buzzsaw. Franklin has winds of 150 miles an hour. It is a Category 4 hurricane and could actually teeter on Category 5 strength early on Tuesday morning. The Hurricane Center has this thing just below Cat 5, but look, it's blown out of the water as the intensity forecast, and it could become a Cat 5, at least very briefly. Then you have Tropical Storm Idalia in the Northwest Caribbean, which at any time could become a hurricane. Winds are 70 miles an hour right now, but Idalia should rapidly strengthen. If you look at those whites, those bright whites, that's high cloud tops, deep convection right over the center of circulation. That is a sign of strengthening with Idalia. Now, as we go overnight, the intensity might kind of hold steady as we lose the diurnal heating of the day. But once things get going on Tuesday and Idalia moves north, there's nothing stopping it from getting strong, and I mean getting strong in a hurry, becoming a major Category 3 hurricane. Let's look at the tracks right now. We'll start you off with the broad perspective. There's Idalia's forecast track. There's Franklin's forecast track. I want to zoom in on Franklin, just kind of put a bow on Franklin. Right now, Franklin's going to be moving up to the north. There's Bermuda staying far enough away. We don't expect hurricane conditions in Bermuda, but again, Category 4 strength, maybe even briefly Category 5 as it moves to the west of Bermuda. Looking right now at Idalia, this is the track from the Hurricane Center, your cone of uncertainty, the red are hurricane warnings. Idalia is forecast to move inland in the Big Bend area of Florida early on Wednesday morning as a major Category 3 hurricane with winds of 120 miles an hour. This is a very dangerous situation for what we call the nature coast here on the west coast of Florida. The storm surge is going to be significant to go along with the very high damaging winds. And again, Idalia just doesn't really show any signs that there's a lot in the way of stopping it from strengthening again. So this is the wind fields that you're looking at and those spaghetti plots, those computer models. They're all in pretty good agreement somewhere in that Big Bend area here, anywhere from Apalachicola Bay to Cedar Key, down towards Crystal River. The blue that you see, that's going to be the tropical storm force winds. The purple are the hurricane winds, and that pink near the center of circulation, that's the potential for that major Category 3 hurricane force winds as it moves on shore. So again, you're looking at time-wise early on Wednesday. Let's talk about the storm surge that's possible from the Hurricane Center. This is peak storm surge potential anywhere from the red around Apalachicola Bay down towards Crystal River. You're looking at a potential of an 8 to 12 foot storm surge. That would include Cedar Key, and even as far south as Tampa Bay towards Longboat Key up towards the Anclote River, 4 to 7 foot storm surge. It's going to be significant. The wind is one thing, but we're also looking at a very significant storm surge to go along with Idalia. Looking at the future radar, this is the HRR model. I'll put it into motion. We'll let it cycle once again for you here over the next 48 hours. And you can see again, as we go through the day on Tuesday, we're going to start to really see Idalia wrap up. The feeder bands on that eastern side of the storm, which is the dirty side, strongest winds and the highest rainfall are going to be lashing the peninsula here. Tropical storm conditions are expected. And again, up and down the coastline, we'll start to see that storm surge move in. But just look at the HRR wrap up Idalia as it moves inland. It's slightly farther west than the consensus, but all the models are in that area that I've already mentioned. So again, the rain is going to be significant to go along with everything else. Now for the Bahamas, we're going to get some feeder bands moving into the Bahamas as well. They're not going to be as prolonged and they're not going to be as widespread as areas towards the west, but even in the northwest Bahamas for the Grand Bahama area and Eleuthera and Abaco and Andros, we're going to get those tropical downpours coming in with the outer feeder bands. So look out for that over the next couple of days. It's going to kick up sea conditions as well. As a matter of fact, some of those sea conditions could be fairly significant. So again, there's your storm surge for the Big Bend area. Looking at the wave conditions, believe it or not, it's actually not from Idalia. It's from Franklin, several hundred miles off toward the east, which is going to bring very dangerous easterly swells to the eastern and the northern sides of the northwest Bahamas. So on the eastern sides of places like Abaco and Eleuthera up towards Walker's Key, the northern side of Grand Bahama, in the exposed waters of the Atlantic, we could have some 7 to 12 foot swells. When you get towards the more sheltered areas, 3 to 5 feet, and then kind of on the southwest sides of the islands, seas will be a little bit lower, but pretty dangerous conditions for us here. The south winds for your Tuesday, south to southwest winds at around 10 to 15 knots on Wednesday. Again, seas kind of averaging 3 to 5 feet, but certainly higher in the exposed waters of the Atlantic with those dangerous easterly swells. So small craft advisory is in effect for the next several days. There will also be some high tide cycles coming in, and minor flooding on the eastern sides of the islands is possible with a full moon phase as well. So it kind of all comes together where we're going to have some rough sea conditions outside, and we're going to have the potential for some higher than normal tides to go along with it. So keep that in mind if you're doing any boating in the northwest Bahamas over the next couple of days. Obviously, there's a lot going on with Franklin and Idalia. We'll keep you up to date right here, friends. All you have to do to stay up to date is make sure you like and subscribe right here to Meteo Mundo.